Kenneth Miller drives 10 miles under the speed limit every single morning. And on April 17, 2024, that habit saved 7 lives. But you wouldn't know it from the way Jennifer Hartwell screamed at him that morning. "You are wasting everyone's time, Mr. Miller. Do you understand that? My son's class has a schedule, and your crawling is making us late." 32 third graders watched from their seats as the woman in the Burberry coat pointed her manicured finger at Kenneth's chest. He just nodded, adjusted his worn Franklin Elementary badge, said nothing. Because 5 years ago, Kenneth's hands had saved 847 lives as a paramedic, and in exactly 14 minutes, 7 more would depend on him remembering what he'd spent 5 years trying to forget. What made a decorated EMT become the slowest bus driver in Virginia? And why did the mother who humiliated him end up on her knees, begging him not to stop? The alarm goes off at 6:47 a.m. every morning, same time. Kenneth's hand shoots out before the second beep, muscle memory from years of shift work. The bedroom is small, pale blue walls, a photograph on the nightstand. Kenneth in his 20s, arm around a woman with dark hair and a teacher's smile. Sarah. The glass has a thin layer of dust. He doesn't look at it while he dresses. Dark blue Dickies work pants, pressed the night before. White Franklin Elementary polo, slightly faded at the collar. New Balance 624 sneakers, the same model he's worn for 8 years because they don't make noise on the bus steps. Down the hallway, Ethan's door is cracked open. The boy sleeps like his mother did, on his side, one hand tucked under his pillow. 8 years old, brown hair that won't stay flat. A Spider-Man backpack hanging on the doorknob and clipped to it, something Kenneth hasn't noticed yet. A small badge, red and white, with a star of life in the center. His old EMT badge, the one he thought he'd thrown away. Kenneth makes breakfast. Cold cereal. 2 bowls. No conversation yet because Ethan isn't a morning person. Never has been. Kenneth checks his watch. 7:03 a.m., right on schedule. The bus is parked in the elementary school lot. Route 14. Kenneth walks the perimeter before he unlocks the door. Tires, mirrors, lights. Then he climbs in. The driver's seat still smells like the pine air freshener the district mandates. Kenneth hates it. Smells like the ambulance he used to drive. He reaches under the seat. His fingers find the hard plastic case before his eyes do. A red Pelican 1150, waterproof, crush-proof, the kind of case you trust with things that matter. He pulls it halfway out, checks the latches, doesn't open it, hasn't opened it in 5 years. Just needs to know it's there. "Not today," he whispers. Then he slides it back, starts the engine, checks the mirrors, left, right, center, left again, right again. His eyes move in a pattern, every 4 seconds, a full sweep. It's a habit from EMS, situation awareness. Your eyes stop moving, people die. Ethan climbs on at 7:42 a.m., third stop, seat 3A. Right behind the driver. He always sits there. Kenneth doesn't ask why. The boy drops his backpack on the seat, and the EMT badge catches morning light through the window. Kenneth sees it in the rear view. His chest tightens. "Morning, buddy." "Morning, Dad." The boy's voice is quiet. Kenneth wants to ask about the badge. Doesn't. Some conversations are heavier than a school morning can hold. They pull out into traffic. Kenneth signals 30 feet before the turn, checks mirrors, eases into the lane. A black Audi honks behind him. Kenneth doesn't react, just maintains 42 miles per hour in a 55 zone. The Audi swerves around him. Driver flips him off. Kenneth's hands stay at 10 and 2. "Dad," Ethan says, "why don't you work at the hospital anymore?" The question lands like it always does, soft but heavy. "I like driving bus, buddy. Safe. Predictable. But you were good at the hospital. You told me. You saved people." Kenneth's eyes flick to the mirror. Ethan is looking out the window, not at him. That makes it easier. I did. For a long time. "So why'd you stop?" Kenneth slows for a yellow light. Could have made it. Doesn't. The bus settles at the intersection. Red light. 45 seconds. "Sometimes," Kenneth says, "you do something for so long, you forget how to do it without it hurting. And sometimes the hurt gets bigger than the helping." Ethan processes this. Nods. Doesn't push. The light turns green. Kenneth eases off the brake. 32 kids behind him, all safe, all whole, all going home at the end of the day. That's enough. It has to be enough. The parking lot at Franklin Elementary is chaos by 8:15 a.m. SUVs and minivans jockey for drop-off position. Kenneth waits. Lets them go. The bus is slower. That's fine. Slow is safe. A white Tesla Model X blocks the bus lane. Vanity plate. Hart MD. Kenneth knows the car. Knows the owner. Jennifer Hartwell. PTA board member. Treasurer. Mother of Mason, who sits in row 5. Kenneth waits. Doesn't honk. Just waits. Jennifer exits the Tesla. Burberry trench coat. Sunglasses that cost more than Kenneth's monthly rent. She sees the bus. Doesn't move the car. Just walks toward the school entrance, phone pressed to her ear. Kenneth waits another minute. Then he puts the bus in park. Opens the door. Descends the steps. Approaches her car. "Ma'am," he says, "I need to get the kids to the curb." Jennifer glances at him. Holds up one finger. "Wait," and keeps talking into her phone. Kenneth stands there. 32 kids watching from the bus windows. Finally, Jennifer ends the call. "What?" "Your car is blocking the lane. I need to get the kids off safely." She looks at the Tesla. Back at him. Sighs like he's asked her to move a mountain. "I'll be 2 minutes, Mr." She squints. "Miller, it's Miller, right?" "Yes, ma'am." 2 minutes. She walks away. Kenneth returns to the bus. Waits. It takes her 7 minutes. When she finally moves the Tesla, she doesn't wave, doesn't acknowledge, just drives off. Kenneth pulls the bus forward, opens the door. The kids file out. Ethan is last. He pauses at the top step. "She's not very nice," he says. Kenneth almost smiles. "Not everyone is, buddy. That's okay. You're always nice to her. That's my job." Ethan shoulders his backpack. The EMT badge swings, catches light. Kenneth wants to reach out, wants to touch it, doesn't. "See you at 3, Dad." "See you at 3. The museum trip is announced 2 weeks in advance. 3rd grade. Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. Mason Hartwell's class and Ethan Miller's class. Combined trip. 2 buses. Kenneth is driving one. The other driver, Tom Bradley, retired military, good guy, is driving the second. The morning of April 17th starts the same. 6:47 a.m. alarm. Cereal, pressed pants, red Pelican case check, mirrors. All good. But when Kenneth pulls into the school lot at 7:58 a.m., he can feel it. The energy is different. Parents are already waiting. Jennifer Hartwell is leaning against her Tesla, arms crossed. She's wearing a different coat today. Navy blue, still expensive. Principal Carson is standing near the front entrance, clipboard in hand. He looks nervous. Kenneth parks, exits the bus, starts his walk-around check. Tires, mirrors, lights, everything in order. "Mr. Miller," Principal Carson calls. "A word." Kenneth approaches. Carson is in his 50s, thinning hair, kind eyes. He's been principal for 3 years. Kenneth likes him, respects him. But right now, Carson looks like a man preparing for a firing squad. "Is there a problem?" Kenneth asks. No problem, just..." Carson lowers his voice. "Mrs. Hartwell has expressed some concerns about timeliness today. The museum has a scheduled entry time, and she's worried about delays. Kenneth nods. I'm always on time, sir. I know you are. It's just... Carson glances at Jennifer. Just be aware, okay? Today's a bit higher stakes. Higher stakes? Kenneth wants to laugh. Wants to tell Carson what higher stakes actually looks like. A 17-year-old with a GSW to the chest and 45 seconds to stop the bleeding. A grandmother in V-fib, and you're 3 miles from the nearest hospital, and the paddles aren't charging. A woman you've loved for 12 years dying in your arms because you couldn't. I'll be aware, Kenneth says. The kids board at 8:45 a.m., 32 of them. Ethan takes seat 3A. Mason Hartwell takes row 5. Mrs. Abrams, the lead teacher, sits in the front seat across from Kenneth. She's young, 26 maybe, first year teaching. She smiles at Kenneth. Excited? She asks. Every day's an adventure, Kenneth says. It's meant to be polite. She laughs anyway. Jennifer Hartwell boards last. She's not supposed to. Parents aren't supposed to ride the bus. But she's on the PTA board, and rules bend for people who write checks. She sits in the back, doesn't greet anyone, just scrolls her phone. Kenneth closes the door, checks mirrors, pulls out. The Virginia Museum of Fine Arts is 43 minutes away. Kenneth knows because he's driven this route 6 times in the past 2 years. He knows every light, every merge, every place where traffic gets stupid. They're 8 minutes into the drive when Kenneth spots the first brake lights, quarter mile ahead. I-64 East, morning rush hour, traffic is slowing. Kenneth eases off the gas, begins braking gently, smooth, no jolts. The kids barely notice, but he does. In the rear view, Jennifer's head snaps up. She's staring out the window at the slowing traffic. Her jaw tightens. They crawl. 40 miles per hour. Then 35. Then 30. Kenneth maintains distance from the car ahead. 3 seconds minimum. That's the rule. 3 seconds to react. 3 seconds to stop. 3 seconds to keep 32 kids alive. Jennifer stands, walks down the aisle. Mrs. Abrams looks up, startled. Ma'am, you need to sit. Jennifer ignores her, stops next to Kenneth's seat. He can see her in the peripheral. Tight mouth. Red fingernails tapping the seat back. How much longer? She asks. Traffic's heavy, Kenneth says. Hard to say. We're going to be late. We'll get there. When? Kenneth doesn't answer, just keeps his eyes on the road. Brake lights, merge, space, mirror check. The pattern is meditative. It's the only thing keeping his breathing steady. Mr. Miller, Jennifer says. Louder now. I asked you a question. Mrs. Abrams stands. Mrs. Hartwell, please sit down. It's not safe. We were supposed to arrive at 9:30. It's 9:22, and we're crawling. Traffic is beyond my control, ma'am, Kenneth says quietly. No, but your speed is. You drive like... She stops herself, takes a breath. You drive like my grandmother. Every time. Every single time I've seen you drive, you're 10 miles under the limit. Kenneth says nothing. Just keeps his hands at 10 and 2, checks mirrors. The kids are silent now, watching. Do you have any idea what it's like to have a schedule? Do you understand that my son's class has reserved time slots, that other people are depending on us? I understand, Kenneth says. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you just don't care. Mrs. Abrams tries again. Mrs. Hartwell, please. Why? Jennifer's voice is rising. She's not yelling yet, but she's close. Why do you drive so slow? Is there a reason? Or do you just not care about other people's time? Kenneth's hands tighten on the wheel. His knuckles go white. He wants to tell her, wants to explain about Sarah, about March 12th, 2019, about how speed kills and how every mile per hour is a choice between making it home and not making it home, and how he will never, never let speed take someone he loves again. But he doesn't. Because that's not his job. His job is to drive. His job is to keep them safe. His job is to swallow it. I apologize, he says. I'll do better. Jennifer stares at him, waiting for more. When it doesn't come, she shakes her head. Of course. No answer. Why did I expect professionalism from someone who, Mrs. Hartwell? Principal Carson's voice crackles through Jennifer's phone. She's on speaker. She must have dialed him. Is everything all right? Jennifer raises the phone. Mr. Carson, we're going to be late because Mr. Miller drives like he's in a funeral procession. This is children's education we're talking about. Carson's sigh is audible even through the phone. I'm sure Mr. Miller is doing his best. His best is making us late. Again. The traffic clears. Kenneth accelerates to 50, still under the limit, but moving. Jennifer returns to her seat. The bus is silent. Kenneth checks the rear view. Ethan is looking at him. The boy's eyes are wet, not crying, not yet, but close. Kenneth wants to say something, wants to tell his son it's okay. But there are 31 other kids listening, so he doesn't. He just drives. They arrive at the museum at 9:38, 8 minutes late. Jennifer is the first one off. She's waiting by the door when Kenneth opens it. Principal Carson is there, too. He must have driven separately. Mrs. Hartwell, Carson says. I'm sure. Jennifer cuts him off. Do you know what it's like, Mr. Carson, to have someone waste your time? To have someone act like your schedule doesn't matter? Kenneth descends the steps, stands quietly. He's still wearing his Franklin Elementary polo, still holding his clipboard with the trip manifest. He looks small next to Jennifer's fury. Mr. Miller, Carson says gently. What happened? Traffic, Kenneth says. I-64 was backed up. You were driving slow before the traffic, Jennifer snaps. I watched your speedometer, 42 in a 55 zone. Kenneth nods. Yes, ma'am. Why? He doesn't answer. I don't know what qualifies you to drive my child, but if this is the standard, Jennifer. Carson's voice is firmer now. That's enough. Is it? She turns to the other parents who have gathered. Mrs. Rodriguez, whose daughter is in the other class. The Thompsons. The Lees. Have any of you ridden behind his bus? Have you seen how slow he goes? Mrs. Rodriguez nods slowly. It is. Slower than normal. Thank you. Jennifer turns back to Kenneth. See, it's not just me. Kenneth stands there. 32 kids are still on the bus, watching through the windows. He can feel their eyes, can feel Ethan's eyes. The boy is pressed against the glass of seat 3A, one small hand, flat against the window. Mrs. Hartwell, Kenneth says quietly, I apologize for the delay. It won't happen again. See that it doesn't. Some of us have actual jobs to get back to. She walks away. The other parents follow. Carson lingers. Kenneth, he says. You okay? Kenneth nods. Fine, sir. You know she doesn't speak for everyone. I know. Carson hesitates. Your record is spotless. 5 years, not a single incident. You're one of our best. Kenneth doesn't respond, just looks at the bus, at the kids inside, at Ethan's handprint on the window. I should get them inside, Kenneth says. Yeah, okay. The museum is fine. The kids enjoy it. Ethan stays close to his teacher. Doesn't look at Kenneth when they pass in the halls. Kenneth understands. 8-year-olds don't know how to process shame yet. Don't know that it's not theirs to carry. The return trip starts at 2:47 p.m. I-64. East toward Richmond. The museum is in the West End. School is 23 miles away. Kenneth does the same checks. Mirrors, space, speed. 47 in a 55 zone. Jennifer is not on the return bus. She left in her Tesla. Kenneth is grateful. The highway is lighter now. Mid-afternoon lull. Kenneth keeps the bus in the right lane. Lets faster traffic pass. A semi roars by at 70. Kenneth doesn't flinch. Just maintains his lane. maintains his speed. Mrs. Abrams is grading papers in the front seat. The kids are chattering, talking about the art they saw, the sculptures, the paintings, normal kid noise, safe noise. Kenneth's eyes do their pattern. Mirror. Road. Mirror. Space. Brake lights ahead. Always watching for brake lights. That's when he sees them. Quarter mile out. Cars slowing fast. Too fast. The kind of fast that means something's wrong. Kenneth's foot moves to the brake before his brain catches up. Smooth pressure. Steady. The bus slows. 50 to 45. 45 to 40. The kids don't notice yet, but his hands do. His hands remember. They're reaching for something that isn't there. Reaching for the radio. For the codes. For the words he used to say. Dispatch, we have a 1050 with injuries. Request ALS, backup, and extrication. Kenneth shakes his head. No, he's not there anymore. He's here, on a bus, with kids. He's safe. They're safe. But his heart is pounding, and his hands are shaking, and the traffic ahead has stopped completely. Mr. Miller? Mrs. Abrams looks up from her papers. Is everything okay? Fine, Kenneth says. Just traffic. But it's not just traffic. He can see it now. Smoke. Black smoke rising from the highway ahead. And something else. Glass. A lot of glass. Scattered across 2 lanes like diamonds in the sun. Kenneth pulls the bus to a stop. Quarter mile from whatever happened. He can't see details yet. Just shapes. Cars at wrong angles. People standing. People sitting. People lying down. His right hand reaches under the seat. Finds the red Pelican case. His fingers touch the latches. They're warm from being in the sun. He doesn't pull it out. Not yet. Just touches it. Mr. Miller. Mrs. Abrams again. She's standing now, looking through the windshield. Is that an accident? Yes. Should we call 911? Already done, Kenneth says. He didn't see anyone call, but someone always does. Always. In America, someone always calls. The kids are noticing now. Standing, pressing faces to windows. Sit down, everyone, Mrs. Abrams says. Buckle up. They sit. Most of them. Ethan doesn't. He's still in 3A, still pressed against the glass. He's looking at Kenneth in the rearview mirror. Kenneth's foot touches the red case again. His breathing is shallow. Quick. He knows what that means. Panic response. Sympathetic nervous system. Adrenaline dump. He's had this before. Every day for the first 6 months after Sarah died. Panic attacks in grocery stores, in parking lots, at red lights. He closes his eyes. Counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opens them. Checks mirrors. And that's when he sees her. A woman, standing on the shoulder of the highway, 40 feet ahead. She's screaming, waving her arms. Her shirt is red. No, white. White shirt, red blood. She's covered in it. Kenneth's hand tightens on the case. Not your job anymore. He tells himself that. Tells himself he's a bus driver. Tells himself there are 32 kids behind him, and his job is to keep them safe. Not to run toward blood and metal and broken bodies. But his eyes won't stop looking, won't stop seeing. There, a man lying on the asphalt, not moving. And there, another figure slumped over a steering wheel. And there, glass. So much glass. Dad, Ethan's voice. Small, right behind him. Kenneth doesn't turn around. Can't. If he looks at his son right now, he'll either break or he'll run. And he's not sure which is worse. Dad, someone's lying down. Are they sleeping? Kenneth's jaw tightens. No, buddy, they're hurt. Should you help them? The question hits like a fist. Kenneth's hands are gripping the steering wheel so hard his knuckles are white. His wedding ring, he still wears it, is cutting into his finger. I'm a bus driver, Kenneth says. Not my job anymore. But you know how. I used to. You still do. Kenneth finally looks at the mirror. At Ethan. The boy is holding something. The EMT badge. He must have unclipped it from his backpack. "Dad," Ethan says, "you have to go. You know how to help." Kenneth shakes his head. "Ethan, I can't." "Yes, you can." Mrs. Abrams is standing again, looking between Kenneth and the accident scene. "Mr. Miller, can we help?" Kenneth closes his eyes again, but this time he doesn't count. This time he hears something else. A scream. The woman on the shoulder. She's still screaming, high and desperate and raw. And it sounds exactly like the scream that came from his own throat 5 years ago when Sarah's heart monitor went flat. Kenneth's hand pulls the red case out from under the seat. The kids gasp. They've never seen it before. Never knew it was there. It's bigger than they expected, red and black, covered in scratches and dents. On the side in faded Sharpie, K. Miller, RMS, Richmond Metro Services, his old unit. "Mrs. Abrams," Kenneth says. His voice is different now, steady, calm, the voice he used on calls. "Lock the doors when I exit. Don't let anyone on. Don't let the kids off, understand?" Yes. If I'm not back in 10 minutes, call Principal Carson. Tell him what happened. Where are you going?" Kenneth stands. The red case weighs exactly 11 pounds. He knows because he's weighed it 100 times, checked it, maintained it, even though he swore he'd never use it again. "Dad?" Ethan's voice breaks. Kenneth turns, looks at his son, really looks at him. 8 years old. Brown hair. Sarah's eyes, holding that badge like it's a magic charm. "Stay here," Kenneth says. "I'll be right back." He opens the door, descends the 3 steps. The air outside smells like diesel and burnt rubber. Like every accident he's ever worked, his feet move automatically. Toward the smoke, toward the glass, toward the screaming. Behind him, 32 faces press against bus windows. In seat 3A, Ethan's hand is flat against the glass again. Palm print. Small. Trusting. Kenneth walks faster. The scene is worse up close. 4 cars. 1 cargo van. Metal twisted. Windshields shattered. Fluid leaking onto the asphalt. Could be coolant. Could be gas. Could be both. Kenneth's mind catalogs it all in seconds. Training. You never forget training. 7 people. 2 walking wounded. Minor injuries. Shock. Mobile. 3 sitting on the shoulder. Possible fractures. Conscious. Stable for now. 2 lying down. Not moving. Triage. Red. Yellow. Green. Black. That's how you think in mass casualty. That's how you stay functional when everything is screaming. The woman who was screaming is kneeling next to one of the lying down figures. Man in a business suit. White shirt. Navy tie. Blood on his chest. A lot of blood. Kenneth approaches, sets the red case down, opens it. The inside is organized like a surgical tray. Gauze, tape, shears, bandages, airway kit, everything labeled, everything in its place. "Ma'am," Kenneth says, "I need you to step back." The woman looks up. Her face is streaked with mascara and blood. "He's not breathing right. He can't, I know. Step back. Let me work." "Who are you?" "Someone who can help." Kenneth kneels, puts 2 fingers on the man's neck, carotid pulse, present, weak, thready. Breathing is labored, shallow. Chest isn't moving symmetrically. He looks at the face and stops, because he knows this face. Dr. David Hartwell, cardiothoracic surgeon, Jennifer Hartwell's husband, the man whose wife screamed at Kenneth 6 hours ago about being slow, about wasting time, about not having a real job. Kenneth's first thought is, of course it's him. His second thought is, doesn't matter. Do the job. He cuts the shirt open with his trauma shears. 3 pulls. The fabric falls away. The chest is a mess. Bruising on the right side. The kind of bruising that means internal damage. Possibly broken ribs. Possibly worse. Kenneth watches the chest rise and fall. The right side isn't moving. The left side is working overtime. Trachea is deviated to the left. He knows what this is. Knows it instantly. Because it's the same injury Sarah had. Tension pneumothorax, collapsed lung, air trapped in the chest cavity, building pressure, crushing the heart. The mediastinum shifting. If it's not decompressed in the next few minutes, David Hartwell's heart will stop. Kenneth reaches for his kit. His hands are steady now. The shaking is gone. Adrenaline has a funny way of doing that. It either breaks you or it makes you, and right now Kenneth is too focused to break. He needs to do a needle decompression. Second intercostal space, mid-clavicular line, standard procedure. But he doesn't have a needle. This isn't an ambulance. It's a basic first aid kit. He has bandages, tape, shears, not the tools he needs. Damn it. What? The woman, Jennifer, is behind him. What's wrong? I need to release the pressure in his chest. I don't have the right equipment. So what do? Kenneth stares at the chest, at the man dying in front of him. He has maybe 3 minutes, maybe 4 if David's strong. He needs to improvise. His hand goes to his pocket, pulls out his folding knife. It's a buck 110, old, reliable. He's carried it for 20 years. He also has 2 pens in his shirt pocket. Ballpoint. Plastic. Cheap. Oh God, Jennifer whispers. What are you doing? Saving his life. Kenneth doesn't have time to explain. He pops the pens apart, pulls out the ink cartridges. Now he has 2 hollow plastic tubes. Not sterile, not ideal. But they'll work. He takes an alcohol wipe from his kit, cleans the knife blade, cleans the pen barrels, cleans a spot on David's chest, right side, between the 5th and 6th rib. Not the standard site, but Kenneth doesn't have access to the upper chest. This is an emergency thoracostomy. Field procedure. Last resort. You're going to cut him? Jennifer's voice is high, panicked. He's already dying. This is his only chance. You can't. You're a bus driver. You can't just... Kenneth looks up at her. His eyes are calm. Dead calm. The kind of calm that comes from seeing death every day for 15 years and learning how to work beside it. Ma'am, he says quietly, your husband has a collapsed lung. There's air trapped in his chest. It's crushing his heart. If I don't release it right now, he dies. Do you understand? Jennifer stares at him. Doesn't respond. Do you understand? Yes. Then step back. She does. Kenneth returns his attention to David. The man's lips are turning blue, hypoxia, running out of time. Kenneth makes the incision, 1 inch, just through skin and muscle, between the ribs. He's done this before, not often, maybe 5 times in 15 years. But muscle memory doesn't forget. Blood wells up. He ignores it, uses his fingers to widen the opening. Feels for the pleural space, finds it. He takes the first pen barrel, slides it into the incision, gently, carefully, feels resistance. Then, hiss, air rushes out, the pressure releasing. The sound is unmistakable, like opening a soda bottle, but wetter, darker. Kenneth holds the tube steady, watches David's chest. The right side starts moving now, not much, but some. The trachea shifts back toward center. David gasps, a real breath. Color returns to his lips, not pink, but better than blue. Kenneth takes the second pen barrel, inserts it next to the first. Redundancy, in case one gets blocked. Both tubes are now functioning as drainage. Crude, improvised, but working. He tapes them in place, wraps gauze around the site, applies pressure to stop the bleeding. Then he checks the pulse again. Stronger now. Still thready, but stronger. Kenneth sits back on his heels. His hands are covered in blood. David's blood. The same blood type as Sarah's, the same red. He stares at his hands, feels the weight of them. The weight of what they can do, what they couldn't do. Is he? Jennifer can't finish the sentence. He's stable, for now. He needs a hospital, but he's stable. Kenneth stands, looks around. The other injured are still sitting, still waiting. The elderly woman on the shoulder looks pale. Shock, possible internal bleeding. Kenneth moves to her next. Ma'am, I'm Kenneth. I'm going to help you. Can you tell me your name? Patricia. Her voice is weak. Patricia Morales. Okay, Patricia. I need you to lie down for me. He helps her down, checks her pulse. Rapid. Skin is clammy. Classic shock symptoms. He elevates her legs, covers her with a space blanket from his kit, applies pressure to a bleeding wound on her arm. You, Kenneth says to a bystander, a middle-aged man in a polo shirt. Hold this. Don't let go. Talk to her. Keep her awake. The man nods, takes over. Kenneth moves to the next patient. This is what he knows. This is what he's good at. Moving from patient to patient, assessing, stabilizing, delegating, keeping people alive until the real help arrives. He's on the fourth patient when he hears the sirens. Finally. Feels like he's been here for 30 minutes, probably been 6. The ambulance pulls up. 2 EMTs jump out. Young guys, early 20s. They see the scene, see Kenneth working, see the improvised chest tubes on David Hartwell. The lead medic stops, stares. Who did that? He's pointing at the tubes. Kenneth stands, wipes his hands on his pants. Doesn't help, still covered in blood. I did. Who are you? Kenneth Miller. Are you a doctor? No, I'm a bus driver. The medic looks confused. Then he sees the red Pelican case, sees the organization inside, sees the way Kenneth is standing, not like a civilian, but like someone who knows, someone who's done this before. Bullshit, the medic says. Not mean, just certain. That's textbook field medicine. Who trained you? Kenneth doesn't answer, just starts giving report. White male, approximately 45, tension pneumothorax right side. I performed an emergency thoracostomy with improvised equipment approximately 8 minutes ago. Breath sounds present bilaterally now. Pulse is thready but stable. No other major trauma noted. He needs chest X-ray and possible chest tube placement at the hospital. The medic is writing it all down. Okay. Who's next? Kenneth points. Elderly female, suspected internal bleeding. Shock protocol initiated. Then 2 ambulatory with minor injuries. Then, Kenneth? The voice comes from behind him. Female, familiar. Kenneth turns. Dr. Alicia Warren is standing 10 feet away. She's in civilian clothes. Jeans, a blazer. Her daughter is with her. The daughter is in Ethan's class. They must have been coming from the museum, too. Must have been stuck in the same traffic. Kenneth and Alicia stare at each other. She looks older than he remembers. Gray in her hair now. But the same sharp eyes. The same way of looking at you like she can see everything you're trying to hide. Kenneth, she says again. What are you doing here? He looks at his hands. At the blood. There was an accident. Alicia walks closer. Looks at David Hartwell being loaded onto a stretcher. Looks at the tubes. At Kenneth's red case. At the way he's standing. She's chief of emergency medicine at VCU Medical Center. She knows fieldwork when she sees it. You did that. It's not a question. Kenneth nods. How long have you been here? Maybe 10 minutes. 10 minutes. She looks around. At the other patients. At the organization. At the way the bystanders are holding pressure, keeping patients awake, following orders. Kenneth's orders. You triaged. You stabilized. You saved that man's life with a pocket knife and 2 pens. Kenneth doesn't respond. Alicia turns to the EMTs. Both of them. Listen to me. This man, Kenneth Miller, is the best trauma medic Richmond Metro Services ever had. 15 years. 847 critical saves. If he tells you something, you do exactly what he says. Understand? The lead medic's eyes widen. Yes, ma'am. Alicia turns back to Kenneth. Her eyes are wet. Not crying. Not yet. But close. I called you, she says quietly. After Sarah. I called you 17 times. I know. I asked you to come back. I know. Why didn't you? Kenneth looks at the bus, at the yellow paint, at the windows where 32 faces are pressed against glass, at seat 3A, where Ethan is still watching, still trusting. Because, Kenneth says, I was afraid I'd get someone killed. Alicia follows his gaze, sees the bus, understands. And now? Kenneth looks at his hands, at David Hartwell being loaded into the ambulance, at Patricia Morales talking to the EMT, at the other patients, all alive, all stable, all going to make it. Now, Kenneth says, I remember why I learned how to do this in the first place. The EMTs take over. Kenneth steps back, lets them work. His part is done. The patients are stable. The professionals are here. He's just a bus driver again. Except he's not. And he knows it. And now everyone else knows it too. He walks back to the bus. The red case feels heavier now. Or maybe it feels lighter. He's not sure. His hands are shaking again. Post-adrenaline crash. His shirt is covered in blood. His pants, too. He must look like something out of a horror movie. Mrs. Abrams opens the door when he approaches. Her face is pale. Mr. Miller, are you? I'm fine. He climbs the steps, sets the red case under his seat, sits down. His hands are shaking so badly he can barely grip the wheel. The bus is silent. Nobody moves. Nobody speaks. 32 kids staring at him like they've never seen him before. And maybe they haven't. Maybe they've only seen the quiet man who drives slow, not the man who walks towards screaming, not the man who knows how to stop bleeding, not the man who cuts people open to save them. Ethan stands, walks down the aisle. He's not supposed to. Mrs. Abrams starts to say something, then stops. Lets it happen. Ethan stops next to Kenneth's seat, looks up at his dad. Kenneth can't meet his eyes, can't look at the hope there, the pride. He's not ready for that yet. Dad, Ethan whispers, I'm proud of you. Kenneth's jaw tightens, his throat closes. He nods once, can't speak. Ethan does something then that he hasn't done in months. He hugs his dad, just wraps his small arms around Kenneth's neck and holds on. And Kenneth, who has spent 5 years keeping distance, keeping safe, keeping everyone at arm's length, because getting close means risking loss. Kenneth holds him back. I'm sorry you had to see that, buddy, Kenneth whispers. I'm not, Ethan says. You saved them. You saved them, Dad. Kenneth closes his eyes, breathes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opens them. Everyone buckle up, he says to the bus. We're going home. The drive back to Franklin Elementary takes 28 minutes. Kenneth drives exactly 47 miles per hour. Same as always. Nobody complains. 3 days later, there's an assembly. Kenneth doesn't want to go. Principal Carson insists, says it's important. Kenneth sits in the back of the gymnasium, tries to be invisible. Doesn't work. Carson takes the microphone, taps it. The feedback squeals. 300 students quiet down. Good morning, Franklin Elementary. Today we have someone very special to recognize. Kenneth sinks lower in his seat. 5 days ago, on a return trip from the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, there was a serious accident on I-64. Some of you were on that bus. Some of you saw what happened. Today, I want to make sure we all know the whole story. Carson looks directly at Kenneth. Would Mr. Kenneth Miller please come up here? Kenneth doesn't move. Can't move. Mrs. Abrams is sitting 2 seats down. She leans over. "Go," she whispers. "You deserve this." Kenneth stands, walks to the front. Every eye in the gymnasium is on him. He hates it, hates the attention, hates the spotlight. But Carson is smiling, and there's someone else on the stage now. Someone Kenneth didn't expect. Dr. Alicia Warren. She steps to the microphone, adjusts it, looks at Kenneth, then at the students. "My name is Dr. Alicia Warren. I'm the Chief of Emergency Medicine at VCU Medical Center. I've been a trauma doctor for 28 years. I've trained hundreds of medical students. I've seen thousands of emergency calls. And I want to tell you about Kenneth Miller." Kenneth wants to disappear. 15 years ago, I recruited a young paramedic to Richmond Metro Services. His name was Kenneth Miller. He was 27 years old. He was smart. He was fast. He was the kind of medic who could walk into chaos and make it make sense. Over the next 15 years, Kenneth responded to 847 critical calls. His survival rate was 94%. That's a department record. That will probably always be a department record. The gymnasium is silent. 5 years ago, Kenneth lost his wife in a car accident, and he walked away from emergency medicine. I called him. I begged him to come back. He said no, and I understood why. Sometimes the cost of saving people is too high. Sometimes you have to step back to survive. Alicia looks at Kenneth, really looks at him. Last week, Kenneth Miller was driving your school bus home from a museum. There was an accident ahead of him. 7 people were injured. 2 were critical. Kenneth could have driven past. He could have called 911 and waited. But he didn't. He stopped. He opened a medical kit he hasn't touched in 5 years. And he saved 2 lives using a pocket knife and 2 ballpoint pens. A ripple goes through the students. Whispers. One of those lives was Dr. David Hartwell, a cardiothoracic surgeon, a husband, a father, a man who would have died without Kenneth's intervention. The other life was Patricia Morales, a grandmother of 6. She's home now. She's stable. Because of Kenneth. Alicia steps away from the microphone, walks over to Kenneth, stands in front of him. "That's not a bus driver," she says quietly, loud enough for the microphone to pick up, but soft enough that it feels personal. "That's a hero who happens to drive a bus." The gymnasium erupts. Standing ovation. 300 students on their feet. Teachers, too. Parents in the back. Carson, Mrs. Abrams, everyone. Kenneth stands there, doesn't know what to do with his hands, doesn't know where to look, settles on the back row. Ethan is there, 3rd grade, seat at the end, standing, clapping, crying, smiling. Kenneth nods at him, just once. Ethan nods back. In the very back of the gymnasium, standing alone by the door, is Jennifer Hartwell. She's not clapping, not smiling, just standing. Her eyes are red, like she's been crying, or like she hasn't slept. She catches Kenneth's eye, holds it. Then she nods. Once. Slow. Deliberate. Kenneth nods back. Not forgiveness, not friendship, but understanding. The kind of understanding that only comes from standing next to death and realizing how small your pride is in comparison. The assembly ends. Students file out. Kenneth tries to leave. Carson stops him. "Kenneth," he says, "I need to say something." "Sir, you don't." "I do." Carson looks at him. "I should have stood up for you when Jennifer was yelling. I should have said something. I didn't. I was a coward. And I'm sorry." Kenneth shakes his head. "You were in a bad spot. It's fine. It's not fine. But thank you for saying it is." Kenneth walks outside. The April sun is bright, warm. The school buses are lined up in the lot. Route 14 is 3rd from the left. Kenneth walks toward it. Ethan is waiting by the door. School ended 10 minutes ago. He must have run out. "Hey, buddy," Kenneth says. "Hey, Dad." They stand there for a moment, not sure what to say. So much has changed in 5 days. So much is different now. "Dad," Ethan says finally, "can I ask you something?" "Always." "Do you still want to be a bus driver?" Kenneth looks at the bus, at Route 14, at the yellow paint and the black letters, and the worn seat where he sits every morning at 7:43. "Yeah," he says, "I do. But you could save more people if you went back to the hospital." Kenneth kneels down, eye level with his son, 8 years old, brown hair, Sarah's eyes. "Ethan, I save 32 kids every day by getting them home safe. That's not small. That's not nothing. That's everything." "But what if someone needs help? What if there's another accident?" Kenneth reaches under the bus seat through the open door, pulls out the red Pelican case. It's clean now. He washed the blood off, restocked the supplies he used, added something new. He opens it, shows Ethan the inside, all the bandages and tape and tools. And there, taped to the inside of the lid, is a photograph. Kenneth and Sarah, wedding day, young, happy, alive. "Then I'll be ready," Kenneth says. Ethan touches the photo. "She'd be proud of you. She'd be proud of both of us." Kenneth closes the case, slides it back under the seat, stands up, takes Ethan's hand. "Come on, buddy, let's go home." They climb into the bus. Ethan takes seat 3A. Kenneth takes the driver's seat, checks his mirrors, left, right, center. The pattern, the rhythm, the thing that keeps him anchored. He starts the engine. The bus rumbles to life. He pulls out of the parking lot, signals 30 feet before the turn, checks mirrors, eases into traffic. He drives exactly 47 miles per hour in a 55 zone, and nobody complains about it anymore. 6 weeks later, Kenneth gets a letter. It's addressed to his home. The return address is VCU Medical Center. Inside is a handwritten note on hospital letterhead. "Kenneth, David is home. He's recovering well. The chest tube came out yesterday. The doctors say he'll make a full recovery. They also say that without your intervention, he wouldn't have survived the ambulance ride to the hospital. I don't know how to thank you. I don't know if there are words big enough. I was cruel to you. I was blind. I judged you without knowing you. And you saved my husband anyway. That's grace. That's something I don't deserve but will spend the rest of my life trying to earn. Thank you doesn't cover it. But thank you." Jennifer Kenneth folds the letter, puts it in his desk drawer. He doesn't need to read it again. Some things you only need to hear once. That night, he sits with Ethan at dinner. Spaghetti, Ethan's favorite. They eat in comfortable silence, the kind of silence that happens between people who understand each other. "Dad," Ethan says through a mouthful of pasta, "can I ask you something?" "You just did." Ethan grins. "Can I ask you something else?" "Shoot." "Do you miss it? Being a paramedic?" Kenneth thinks about it. Really thinks. "Sometimes," he says. "I miss the feeling of knowing I made a difference. But you know what?" "What?" "I still make a difference. Every morning at 6:47, every afternoon at 3:15, every time I get you and 31 other kids home safe. That's a difference. Maybe it's not flashy. Maybe nobody makes a big deal about it. But it matters." Ethan nods. "Yeah, it matters." Kenneth reaches across the table, squeezes his son's hand. "I love you, buddy." "Love you too, Dad." They finish dinner, wash dishes. Ethan does homework. Kenneth grades the next day's route sheet. Normal life, quiet life, safe life. At 9:47 p.m., Kenneth checks the red case one more time, opens it, makes sure everything is there. Bandages, tape, shears, the photo of Sarah. He whispers to it, like he does every night now. "I didn't run, baby, not this time." He closes the case, turns off the light, goes to bed. The alarm will go off at 6:47 a.m., like always. And Kenneth will drive 10 miles under the speed limit, like always. Because slow is safe. Slow is steady. Slow is the choice between getting home and not getting home. And Kenneth Miller, former paramedic, current bus driver, father, widower, hero, human. Kenneth Miller chooses home. Every single time. Even when nobody's watching. Even when nobody complains. Even when nobody knows. He chooses home. And that's enough.